What did you say? Did you say something to me? You are rude. Totally rude. No. What are you doing? How do you let me ask you a question. How do you react when something happens to you? Juma didn't say anything to me, I'm just picking, but how do you react when someone says something to you? See, I want you to imagine at the moment, I want you to imagine this morning a time when you were hurt. Just think, when have you been really hurt? What happened? Did someone betray you? Did they say something bad against you? But what happened? Was it a good friend who betrayed you, who hurt you? And how did you respond? How did you respond? See, maybe you responded by pulling away and going, well, bugger off. I don't want to know you. I don't want to have anything to do with you. Maybe you pulled out an emotional knife and you stabbed them in the back yourself. You actually, well, did you hear about what they, and you spread some rumours about what them or something. You know what, it's a funny thing, but how do you respond when someone hurts you? You know, one of the funny things that we've been so often taught in our society and in our life, that to respond when someone hurts you is simply, often you just want to punch them in the face. You agree with that? Or you want to actually just stab them emotionally in the back. See, but how we respond to being hurt, there's only really two ways to respond. The first way to respond is simply that we either tell them to bugger off, get lost, go away, I don't want to know you anymore, or which basically means we take revenge on them and, you know, or we forgive. There's only the two ways that when we get hurt, there's only two ways to respond. And yet we're often taught and told that the way to respond to being hurt or something happening in our life is to tell people to go away. See, this morning, I want to say to you, we start a series in August called Lifestyle Factors. See, Jesus said, come follow me. Come follow me. But what does come follow me look like in life? And so we're going to do some lifestyle factors the next 5 weeks. And this morning is, how do you respond? Like when someone, you often hear people say, but they hurt me. You don't understand what they did to me. You don't understand the betrayal, and you don't understand what they said about me. You don't understand how they shamed our family. You don't understand. No, I may not understand, but I do know one thing. And that is how we respond when someone hurts us either is an indication of our relationship with God and where we are at in being a follower of Jesus, or we're not. See, this morning we're going to read out of Matthew 18, and it says these words, and it's the parable of an unmerciful servant, and it's about how we handle when we get hurt. And Peter, he came to Jesus and he asked Jesus, how many times shall I forgive my brother when he sins against me, when he does the wrong thing against me, when he hurts me, how often should I forgive him? 7? And Jesus says, hey, listen, I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. And Jesus goes on, therefore, the kingdom of heaven is like a king who wanted to settle accounts with his servants. As he began this settlement, a man who owed him 10 talents was brought to him. And since he was not able to pay, the master ordered that he and his wife and his children, that they be sold to repay the debt. The servant fell on his knees before the master. Be patient with me, he begged, and I'll pay back everything. Everything. The servant's master took pity on him, cancelled the debt, and let him go. But when that servant went out, he found one of his fellow servants who owed him 100 denarii, 5 cents. He grabbed him and began to choke him. Pay back what you owe me, he demanded. And his fellow servant fell to his knees and begged him, be patient with me and I will pay you back. But he refused. Instead, he went off and had the man thrown into prison until he could pay the debt. When the other servants saw what had happened, they were greatly distressed, and they went and told their master everything that had happened. And then the master called the servant in. You wicked servant, he said. I cancelled all that debt of yours because you begged me to. Shouldn't you have had mercy on your fellow servant just as I had on you? In anger, the master turned him over to the jailers to be tortured until he could pay back all he owed. This is how my heavenly Father will treat each of you unless you forgive your brother from your heart. You know, forgiveness, it's a funny thing. I reckon this is the hardest thing to do in life. This, with along saying the words, I'm sorry. Because we are taught so often that we don't forgive. Man, she hurt you, don't forgive her, just move on, wipe her out, pretend she doesn't exist and just go on. You know, and that the question that Peter asked, I believe that's the question that we all have. How many times shall I forgive my brother? How many times should I forgive someone when they do the wrong thing to me? You know, the funny thing is, we often go for the minimalist answer, which is what Peter does. Peter says, hey, listen, should I only forgive them up to 7 times? We look often for the smallest possible amount that we can forgive someone. And God said, Jesus says really clearly, no, not 7 times, but 77 times. In other words, constantly ongoing, unlimited forgiveness. It's completely opposite to what we're told to do in this world. But this morning, with this lifestyle factor, one of the questions you may be sitting there asking is, but why, Murray, should I forgive someone? Why should I forgive someone who's hurt me? Why should I actually wipe out their debt and say, no, it's okay? Well, first thing why you should forgive someone is God's forgiveness is unlimited. God's forgiveness is unlimited. Jesus answers not 7 times, but 77 times. God's forgiveness is not limited. to forgiving you once for what you've done wrong to him, or twice for what you've done wrong to him. God forgives us, because I don't know about you, I make mistakes again and again and again and again and again and again. And God forgives me again and again and again and again and again. God is the God of second chances, and third chances, and fourth chances, and fifth chances. God forgives. It's unlimited. God doesn't sit there going, well, I forgive you if you do this. God doesn't sit there going, I forgive you, but. See, whenever you hear the word but in someone saying, I forgive you, but, it's not forgiveness. There's still a grudge attached to what's going on. They're still holding on. God doesn't do that. God's like, I forgive you when. You know, God doesn't stand there saying, I forgive you when you apologize. I forgive you when you don't do this to me again. See, God goes, I forgive you unconditionally. It's unconditional. The 77 times is unconditional. Forgiveness keeps going. It doesn't stop. It keeps rolling on. See, one of the things about marriage that I've learned in marriage, you know, we've got this toothpaste in our bathroom at home. And, you know, the only way to deal with the toothpaste is to actually push the toothpaste up from the bottom of the tube to the top. But my wife goes in there, Julie, and she gets the toothpaste and she gets right in the middle of the toothpaste bar and goes, and squashes it and upsets it. See, but the thing is, the only way in marriage to stay married is to continually forgive. Is to forgive that the toothpaste is just in the wrong spot all the time. See, the other person always is doing something wrong. And the only way in marriage to stay marriage is that marriages that break up, one or both parties have stopped forgiving. They've limited forgiveness. They actually draw forgiveness down and they go, you know, and that's one of the things. See, marriage is that's a classic example. It's unlimited. I keep forgiving Julie again and again and again for that toothpaste that gets squashed in the middle. You know, it's just wrong. You feel my pain? You know, it's just one of those things.